And welcome back to According to Tom. My name is Tom. I'm very excited to talk about a show that I've been waiting for a while, and that is Andor season 2. Come join us. Welcome back, folks. We are honored today. We're always honored. I have my co-host Dave. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Today we're gonna go right into it. It's 3 episodes. Andor season 2 is back. Um, I will say right now, it is the greatest Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Season 2, everybody said it's slow. Everybody said it's episode 2 is not that good. I disagree. I think all three were great. I think all three serve a purpose for further down the season. Now, is doing something different with Andor season 2. They're dropping every week. They're dropping 3 episodes. So on Tuesday they're dropping 4, 5, and 6.
Is this a 12 episode
12 episode
series just
series.
like last season?
Yep, and it's
That was what, 2022?
I believe so. So
It's been 3 years.
yeah. So Sim Gain is back. Tony Geroyd is the showrunner slash writer slash might as well just call him director or producer, all of it. He's
Yeah.
incredible the way he has brought this world into our television. And this is not your kid Star Wars. There's no way.
Oh, definitely not.
No, right? There's some
Definitely not.
there's some underlying stuff that like I think border to like comparing to the Nazis to
Oh yeah,
Germany.
almost on the nose,
Yeah,
in my
right.
opinion.
And you get the seriousness of what's going on with the rebellion, and there's also the condition of what the rebels are as a whole, which is not perfect, which I thought
Yeah.
episode served a purpose. Anyways, let's get into it. Episode 1. What's the title? Episode 1. It was how do you
One
say
year
it?
later, is that wait,
Is that what it says? So by the way, yeah, 1 year
that's
later.
how it
So
starts. Is that the episode title?
yeah. By the way, folks, before we go anywhere further, we are going to be doing a spoiler
Yes.
review here. So if you have not seen episode 1 through 3, I would recommend you to pause and go and watch it. It is incredible.
Consider
Don't
yourself warned.
don't listen to people who says that it's boring. There's a lot of talking. The dialogues is what makes this show so great. The acting is top notch. The direct cinematography is a movie. You're watching a movie here. This
Yeah.
first 3 episodes is a movie, and the next one will be a sequel to that movie. And so people are gonna say, "Oh, this is boring. There's no lightsaber." It's like, guys, they've been trying to
There's
do lightsaber. They've been trying to, and it's not working.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And guess what's working? Rogue One worked. Rogue One was
Yeah,
incredible.
we did have lightsaber in Rogue One though.
But even that was freaking
That was
amazing.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
so Antonio Gilroy was the one that I know Garrett Edwards got credit on the big screen, but we all
sure.
know Tony Gilroy came in and made that movie even better. And um, so he's back season 2, episode 1, 1 year later. So each drop of the episodes, like this is the next Tuesday or this coming Tuesday will be 4, 5, and 6. It would be a gap 1 year later. So each time they drop an episode, it's a year later.
Are they trying to close the gap from like the
Yes.
beginning of season one until Rogue One
Yes. That's
in
what they're
this
doing
season?
in this season. That's why they're
So
skipping.
this is going to be the last season of Andor then.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically. And season 3 would be Rogue One.
Right. Yeah.
And
Okay.
anyways, episode 1, 1 year later, we start right off the bat with him meeting Andor meeting with that Imperial worker who basically turned against the
Yeah, she's
Empire.
a turncoat.
And people don't. Can I just before I'll ask you I'll ask you how you thought of the episode 1 before we go forward. Can I when you watch shows, you have to understand what the character is doing without having to knowing the background just by the dialogue that character gives. You know how
Yeah.
serious it is that she says to Andor, "I love it here. I
Oh
love
yeah.
working
I had
here."
fun. I've had fun.
Yeah. And now she's throwing it all away for the rebellion. You know how hard that is for a person to give up something. They're sacrificing something for the greater good. That scene to me was so the the best way you can start by showing how
Yeah,
serious this
that's
rebellion is.
something that so you have to like that character has
Yeah,
yeah, and you can infer all this just from the short dialogue they had, right? She has to believe in what's happened, like what she's doing in order for her to give up everything.
to give up her happiness.
Right.
Never see the sunset, as Luther says in the
Oh
last
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Oh, still my favorite.
That monologue is great, by
Oh,
the
it's
way.
probably
I
one of the
use
best.
I use that like as a description for like moms, stay at home moms. Like just think of what stay at home moms do and listen to Luthen's speech. It's the exact same thing.
What's one of the line? I give up all my happiness and I deal with
Uh
ghosts or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Such a good one.
we
Anyway.
get the sense of how important this rebellion is for this character. I forgot her name, and the actor is incredible. You can tell that she's heartbroken. Look at her face, folks. There were tears coming down her eyes.
Yeah.
She knows she's sacrificing something that's very important for the long run. So don't give me that crap like this is boring and there's no substance in this show. It's there's so much substance in this freaking show. So, what's your thought of episode one,
So
Dave?
episode 1, I feel like I feel like episode 1 we got the most screen time balance for the title character than the rest of them.
Yeah,
There is a lot going on, and to be honest, I had to go back and do a recap of season 1
I did
to
too.
kind of understand some of what's happening in these first 3 episodes. So yes, episode 1, there's some humor sprinkled in there that I didn't think was unwarranted or even out of place, right?
Hmm.
Cassian jumps into this ship that he has no idea what's going on. He
Well,
couldn't even find the seat, and he crashes it out the gate and just yeah, just totally
remember
wrecks this whole situation. Like it could have been smooth, but it wasn't.
remember episode three? He mentioned it to what's her name, Luthen's assistant.
Yeah, this is
Like,
not what I was trained on. Like
yeah.
this is
So he
yeah.
didn't even know what this is. This is. I don't know if this is a new generation of fire of the
I get the impression they're putting this in there as it was a prototype,
yeah.
and
Okay.
now it's been stolen and they're not going to get it. Like, which is why I wouldn't see any of this in the other Star Wars IP.
Because that firefighter. Oh, what's it called? The
The
plane
Tie
that he,
Fighter.
the Tie Fighter. Because that one can actually warped through.
Oh, it did.
It
Yeah,
did warp
had a
hyperspace,
hyperdrive.
and we don't see that with any other uh a Tie
Yeah.
Fighter. So
Yep.
that is such a great detail that are in there. So anything else?
Yeah.
Episode one.
Um, it ended intense. That was interesting. I thought though that crew was some of the back
Okay,
and forth was a little much for me,
I get it.
but um going into like getting into the next episode with them, it's like you kind of understand they've been in this situation for days without food, without any
Yeah,
communication, and now they're getting at each other's throats and they just don't know what they're looking for someone to place blame somehow to escape this situation they're in.
yeah.
So, but some of the back and forth was a little bit much for me.
Yeah. So I can understand that, but I got a different view when I watched that. We'll go to that. What about let's talk about Moth Martha when they go to her house, her
Oh,
place. There's a wedding going on,
yeah.
and you can tell it's like I don't know what it's like to be a spy, but it's hard from what the character is. She is like. does not have it together.
She's deep and she's grasping for a way out.
And
Or
she
not a way out, but a way to resolve
to resolve
things.
it because her
Yeah.
friend, who is her lifetime friend, kind of like basically threatened her, hey, if you don't do this, I'm gonna go to that person and
Right.
they're gonna know what you're doing. And because I guess he lost some fun and he was supposed to fund her with all this stuff. And then, they're having a wedding for their daughter, which is this what do they call those?
It's a it's an arranged marriage.
Arranged
Yep.
marriage, which her daughter was pushed her in. Man, I love her. I love her character. She can't win. She is a lose
No.
lose with her,
Yeah.
no matter what she does with her family.
It's gonna be interesting to see where this character's story arc comes to a head because we know where she ends up in
Yeah,
Star Wars, right?
she becomes
Um,
one of the leader, or if not the
yeah,
leader of the rebellion. So
yeah, yeah. To see where she goes from here and how she ends up where she is in episode 6 of Star Wars:
hmm
Return of the Jedi. So, yeah, Mon Mothma. Holy cow! Um, yeah. Again, I had to go back and do a little recap on this whole wedding thing and the speech she gives her daughter at the wedding. Is this episode 2?
that was episode 2, I believe. Maybe it was 3. Either way,
This she's like, my mom was drunk, and her daughter responds with, yeah, I wish you were drunk,
yeah,
because
she's
her daughter she's bought into this tradition, this religion, whatever it is.
which is
That
very interesting the way they written it. Like it's actually like looks like a almost like a
it's
cult.
almost cultish. Yeah, yeah. Part of the
But
ceremony is
but there's
the
but
groom cuts the braid. Yeah,
yeah, there's tradition into it as well. But
yeah,
so in this party, she has everybody's showing up. Lutheran shows up with his assistant.
yeah, yeah.
One of his spies was there already. The blonde girl. I don't know her name in this one. I feel bad, but she was good.
Oh, she was blonde in the first season,
Yeah, she was the leader
but
of
she's
the
not in this. What is that character's? Oh, Vel.
Vel. That's right.
Vel.
So we get all these spies into one area, and on top of that, they got to figure out what's going on with like what's going on with their plan going forward. They can't get a hold
Yeah.
of Andor Cassio because the communication has gone black. So they
Yeah.
don't.
So this is interesting because the season 1 app ended. They were getting off Ferrex,
Yep.
and Cassian, he confronted Luthen and said, "You came here to kill me," and that was like where it ended.
Yep.
So how we got from there to here,
Well, I think
this
he
year
said.
gap.
I think he chose to be, and I think you got to go back and watch that scene again. He actually said, "Okay." He said, "Let's do
Oh
this."
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
does say it. So,
yeah.
so this is 1 year later, and this is what. So that's what's his one of his assignments. It's been a year. So, but they lost communication, and then and then you get Cassio, Andor landing in that planet. Now, fun fact: that planet that he landed on, it will be it will be in the future the base of the rebel.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's where the
In A
base
New Hope?
in New Hope, in Rogue One. That is
Okay.
the base of the rebellions will be there, which is kind of funny with those guys. Like, because if you see in episode 2 when he flies out, you see the two pyramid, right? Well, go back and watch.
I'm gonna have to go watch that scene
Yeah,
again. Okay.
go watch Rogue One and New Hope. You see, it's the same planet, except
Okay.
yeah. And if they would just walk maybe 90 yards or 2 or 3 miles to the
They
left,
would have been fine.
maybe they would have solved them. I don't know. I have no clue. It was established then. Now let's go to episode 2 really quick. I'm gonna defend episode 2 because everybody says it's one of the worst episode.
What is I see? I haven't read anything or heard anything. What are people saying about episode
That
2?
it was unnecessary. That those guys were just goofballs, and why did we spend so many times there? I do agree that we did spend too much time with these characters, but I think Tony Guerrero wanted us to understand the situation and the status of what the rebellion is. Now,
Yeah, it's desperation.
it's
Like
desperation,
they don't have funding, they don't have resources.
and not
They're
everybody
stealing ships.
and not everybody's on the same page. Remember,
Yeah.
you still have Forrest Whitaker's character. What's that guy's name?
Saw Gerrera.
Sakura and his crew. They don't
Yeah,
do the same thing as this crew or Lutheran. Wow, how they're all different way of rebelling, but they go about different ways. The same
yeah.
goal, same different flashes, different
It's
ideas. How,
still
but well,
it's still very much in the dark at this point,
and
right? We
and
go
it's
to episode 4, and now it's out in the open, right? The
yes,
rebels are
yes.
openly, they're armed, they're organized. There's this, a structure and uh, chain of command.
There's
This, there's not,
there's no one leader that will
right?
lead them. So what I do agree that the timing was a little too long with these characters, but you get the sense of what's going on with the rebellion, the status of what's going on.
Yeah.
They're not on the same page. They're not organized. In fact, those group is actually was mentioned in season 1. Saw Gerrero mentioned them. In fact,
Uh,
Saw Gerrero had a meeting with Lutheran, and they
is
wanted
this
those
is
the
this the
group.
crew that they gave up?
Yes,
Oh, so there's these
I
are survivors
believe
of that crew.
I believe
I
so.
might have to go back and
I believe so.
revisit that scene.
But so we so I don't know why people said it was their goofball. Yeah, that might be a goofball, but he's trying to show us the situation of what these guys are doing, that they
Yeah.
have no clue how to be a rebel or to rebel because there's no leader. They're waiting for someone to lead, and and credit to Cassio, when he escaped them, he could have mowed them down.
Oh
He
yeah.
could have shoot them and killed them all. He didn't because he understood that, look, even though these guys almost kill me and they capture me, they're on my side. They just
Yeah.
don't know they need a leader to lead these people. And so maybe they'll come back later with these group of kids. But I don't see why this was so bad to compare to people saying this, oh, I really need this. It's like I think it was beautiful the way that Tony Gore put this in it to show us like
Yeah.
not everybody is on the same page when it comes to the rebel. And so Cassio got captured. They were there for a while, back and forth. They decided, like, look, we're waiting for your brother. He's not here. He left us. Um, in fact, one of the one of the leader, the white guy with the long hair that looked like Jesus,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's actually Tony Garro's son.
Oh
So
really?
yeah, so
Okay.
he's in. So they divided two groups, fight each other. They shoot at each other, pew pew.
And then they end
Uh,
up doing paper rock scissors to come to some kind of decision.
that's the part where I'm like, okay, that's a little too much, but
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
These guys are
They
morons.
were shooting at each other, trying to kill
I
each
know.
other, and they're like, okay, let's put our guns down and just Rochambeau for this.
And the paper, I have no clue what the way it is.
Oh yeah, whatever
Yeah,
these
that's over my head, but I've never seen it. But anyways,
it's like paper rock scissors lizard
uh,
Spock kind of thing. I don't know.
so episode 1 was great. I thought it would start off strong. Episode 2 was, I'll have to admit, it was
It was
good.
weaker.
I liked it, but it was one of the weak of the three.
Yeah.
Now we come to episode 3. Now, don't forget, episode 1 and 2. We don't even mention Cassio's friends. They're
Oh
in a
yeah,
on a
they're on some
planet.
like farm.
Yeah, they're hiding away. Now there's a lot of underlying stuff that goes on in our real world that they implement into this world. The first we'll get into the word that was shouted out by what's the character's name? The girl
Bix.
Bix. The word rape
Oh yeah.
have never been mentioned in Star Wars before. That was the first
Yeah.
time that and also illegal
Oh yeah,
aliens.
visas,
Yeah.
legal, yeah.
So you have this underlying what's the
Almost
word? A
political
political
messaging.
what's going on in our world. They're hiding away right now, and they're actually being helped by one of the family who is legal, who has visa that is on that planet, and they're against the Empire as well. They're just working there, waiting for Cassio to come back to stay contact. While they're doing that, they're pretending to be mechanic, fixing stuff, and all that stuff. One was the young man who was in the first season. He flew out with Biggs and what's the big guy's name? Now I forgot his name.
Oh, Brasso.
Brasso.
Yeah.
Poor Brasso. I
Poor
wanted him.
Brasso.
I wanted him to stay alive. I think he saved that family by the in the third episode. We'll go
Yeah.
back to it, but so you get this thing that they're just hanging out waiting for Cassio to come back. At this time now, the Empire comes to this planet. They go and they check papers. They know that there's illegal aliens there that no paper, and that they're just doing a shakedown basically.
Right.
They come in, boy, do they come in like a freaking Nazi. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I meant when I said
Oh
it's a
my
little on the
gosh.
nose.
Let on, but you know what? It worked. It,
Yeah,
it, it's it makes you know that look, these guys are serious. You know, the Empire is strong and they are serious and they don't care.
yeah,
They're really kind of thinking about it. They're really lawless, but whatever it is. And so, episode
yeah.
two, we actually get a very important character back as well, and that is what's his name? Freaking, let me look it up.
Cyril?
No, he was in Rogue One, but he died. He got
In
choked out
Rogue
by
One, but he died.
Vader at one point. Okay,
Um,
hold on.
I don't know.
His name Ben is Ben Middleton's character.
Oh,
What's his thing? What's his name?
Krennic?
Critic. That's right. There you go. Yeah, yeah, yes.
Krennic?
So he comes back.
He is in episode one.
He was. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that
They
was
say
episode
episode
one.
one right off the bat. You're
Because
right,
they were talking about Gorman. Gorman?
dude.
That planet with the silk, but that's not really what they want it for.
They wanted the minerals. The
Yeah,
it's basically a kyber crystal that
that's what they
power
want to
up.
start mine for
Yeah.
the Emperor's Power
What a
Project or whatever it
and
is.
what a
Energy
way.
Project.
There you go. What a way to write instead of like we don't care about the Gormans, but we want to make sure
Right.
that they are eliminated some way somehow that we can get to the mineral, and
We need to control that planet.
and how they're trying to do propaganda and all this. But what's her name? The main character, Deidre,
Deidre.
has the best idea, and Critic knows that she's probably the best out of all those people in there. And she basically said, you have to go in there and you have to kill them and pretend that they're their own people killing them
Oh
themselves.
yeah,
And
yeah. You need a crew that's
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
guys,
She's ruthless, man.
ruthless. And then, and I don't know how people can say this is boring. It was so fascinating how the empire, how showing how the empire works and how they maneuver and how they manipulate things
Yeah.
to get to where they want to go. And so, incredible, incredible.
Here, here's my
What's
biggest
okay? What's your
gripe.
biggest pet?
My biggest gripe is there is a lot going on, and I'm trying to like foresee where they're taking these storylines and how this has to do with um well, the title of the show's Andor. Like, what does this have to do with Cassian Andor? What does this have to do with, like, how are we going to get from here to Rogue One? And where are these characters like Cyril and Deidre? Where are they in
Okay.
that story, right? Why do we need to know that his mom is nuts and now Deidre is the woman in his life and she's taken over? Why is that
Uh,
important for the bigger story? That's my question,
I don't
right?
know.
I'm just trying to understand where they're taking this and what this is, how this is going to get us to,
Okay.
Rogue One.
I can answer that. I don't think that scene, which I thought was I thought was really great. That
It's
DJ,
really, it feels more of a character development
it
scene
is,
for
it
those two
is,
characters.
it is. It just shows you who's in control. It just
Yeah.
shows you that she is the one to be you get the sense of has everything. She has to have everything in control.
Yes.
And you can tell that they're setting it up how her character's like, if she's not in control, she doesn't want to be involved. Remember,
Right.
she went to that meeting. She walked back to her headquarters, and she had a meeting with that general of hers and said, "I don't want this.
Oh yeah, I don't want that. I don't want Gorman.
Why? Because she can't be in control of what she
Yeah.
wants to do. She
And
wants
he's
to
like,
go.
well, sorry.
She wants to go after X, who is Luther, and she knows she can control that rather than going to Krennic to do what he wants her to do. I think that part has nothing to do with anything to do with the story. It's to further her character, saying
Okay.
what her ambition and what her goal is, and he can tell she stands up for what's his name, the guy
Cyril.
when he went into his room
Oh
and he
yeah,
just
he's
curled
laying
up
on his bed.
like a little freaking bee.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. But
Yeah.
it shows you his character and it shows you that he's behind Deirdre 100% going
Yeah.
forward now that she stood up for him. And I do agree, man. I love the mom and all, but she is annoying, and I can see why he is the way he is because of the mom. And I
Yeah.
think I think they had to do that scene to further his character as well,
True.
because you can't have his character stay the same as he was in season one, being
Right.
under control of his mom, being insulting his mom, insulting him, and
Yeah.
telling him you're worthless and that his her uncle is great and all this. At some point, you got to
Oh
get out
yeah.
of that, and so I think that scene itself was what they're trying to further his character as well as her, and so I don't think it has to do with the story, to be honest. I think that's just to like
It's just character development.
yeah, just to
Yeah.
get out of that, just to get out of that situation with the mom. And so, anyways, what else? Yeah, so credit comes. They're gonna try to get Gorman, try to control that, so you get the crystal, and then we get episode three. Anything else? Oh, what's going on in the wedding? I do agree. You have it is not all over the place because I think this is more of a control chaos. Like we're going
Sure.
to different story, but we're not lost. I'm not lost in any of this. I know what's going on.
Right. Yeah. That's, I would agree with that. I know what's happening. I'm just like, where's this
Where we
going?
so I've heard because people's already watched all the episode already.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Critics.
they say that the first three episode is probably the weakest of all the 12s.
Really?
They said
Okay.
that it's gonna. They said after episode four, it just takes off. According to what everybody has been saying that, and so, well, I'll save the judgment. I get what you mean, because I feel like every time whatever story we jump to, there is a character that is connected to that storyline somehow.
Right.
There is a woven thread that we know, even though we're talking about this story, we're talking about the wedding, but Lutheran is there, and Lutheran is trying to wait for Cassio, so we know that he's connect. They're connecting
Yeah.
to each other, so it's
What I thought was interesting was that who's that character that um threatened Mon Mothma?
that's her friend, that's
Yeah,
her
this
love friend.
guy. And at the end of the wedding, he
Oh,
jumps in this transport, and one of Luthen's
yep,
spies is there.
assassin,
Yes,
and Mama Martha, bless her heart, she doesn't
Cinta.
know, how to handle it, but to get drunk
So
and
she slams a bunch
and
back.
just dance her night away, trying to get that guilt out of her system, because she knows what Lutheran is gonna do,
Yeah,
and she knows Lutheran has to do it because if he doesn't, all this that they work for is gonna be undermined. It's gonna be destroyed, and they're gonna have to start all over. And so,
yeah. So
anything
he needs
else?
to be silenced.
I know. So
Shut him down.
we got about 10 more minutes. Episode three was great. Cassio came back to that planet, waited for Biggs and of course they have the famous line. That freaking the general guy comes back and basically trying to get on her, trying to get some.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
no, Biggs, she knocks the crap out of him, and then he basically dies, and then
yeah.
she yelled out,
He
he was
tried to
gonna
rape
rape
me.
me,
Yeah.
first time ever. And you know what? Everybody is like, that's not Star Wars. Star Wars never said. At some point, you have to
So
understand.
here's how I feel about this series
Okay.
is, and especially this season, they're bringing a lot of like our culture
Yes.
into this, and it seems an attempt to help people relate more to these characters.
On point, Dave. You're on point.
Yeah.
That's a great analysis because we don't know what it's like to be a Jedi, folks.
No, no, we don't.
We
No.
don't know how it's like to be, but we understand human and we understand what's it called, human behavior. There are evil
Yeah.
people out there.
Yeah.
There's evil people in any spot in the world here. Why can a guy tried to rape a girl in Star Wars. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I'm not
especially in
mad
that
at,
situation.
yeah, I'm not mad at what they did. People was like, this is, you're right. This isn't for kids. This is not your normal Star Wars. But to say that this isn't Star Wars, it's just ridiculous. You're missing your
Right. Yeah.
as as oh, this is going to our gospel class now. As one of the apostles, you miss the mark. You see,
Right. You're
you're
looking
not,
beyond it.
you look beyond the mark. You're not seeing what is this
You're
is as
trying to see the Jedi through these characters that aren't Jedi.
no, these are human beings that try to protect themselves. Now, I mean, we know we understand. Like, do we agree with illegal aliens? I have my opinion. I mean,
Sure.
you break the law. You break the law. You broke the law. You gotta face the consequence. As how hard that may harsh that might sound, but if we don't uphold the law, how is this society ever going to survive?
Sure.
And so I
Sure.
think it's just they're trying to see to wool that into Andor to see the look. They're just like us, except they're in the Star Wars universe with
Yeah.
pew pew and lightsaber and all that. But even then, you don't have that there. So I don't get the controversy in this. I understand it, and I don't mind. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you get Andor comes and just
Oh yeah.
mow
He
everybody
mows
down.
down the stormtroopers and the
Oh
Imperial
man, great
officers. Yeah.
scene, great cinematography, man. And then you get the death of what's his name,
Brazo.
Reza. Yeah, man, that was so much have been heartbroken for Andor and Biggs because I was sad. I wanted his character to keep going.
Yeah.
And then they fly away, and then they look at each other, and then he looks in the camera, and he looks pissed, and then it goes dark. Now, I love the first three episodes. I think this show is so great. Without having to watch the whole series, I think it's the writing, the character development, the situational that they event that happens in this. I think they Tony Gilroy is a genius, and so I I love it. I think I can't wait for next week for this Tuesday. And so, your thoughts,
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, I just want to know where this is going.
You will. We will.
I want to know.
I don't think you. I don't think Tony Gilroy will leave us hanging. I think we'll get a
Yeah.
closure to what you're looking for. I think we'll get there. It's just control chaos,
Yeah, that's yeah,
and
true.
eventually we'll be in control, and we'll find out where that chaos is gonna fit. It's gonna fit into these
Yeah.
puzzle that they're trying to figure out. And so
Yeah. So yeah, I've yeah, I like that. I like um seeing more of Luthen, behind his character, like this art connoisseur, this art director or curator. Um
you should make a
and
meme. Did you make a meme of that speech of his? And did you already
I
make it?
did yeah, it's on my Instagram.
Dude, repost that, dude. I'll
Okay.
tag it and put it in. Anyways, let's next week we'll be back. We're gonna talk about episode 4, 5, and 6. Go catch it, folks. It is a great show so far, and you know what? I'm enjoying. I can't wait to talk about it more next week. Anything else, Dave? That's it.
I think that's it. We didn't talk about Daredevil though.
Nah, the season finale suck.
Yeah.
Well, we got 4 minutes. I'll sum it up.
Sum it up.
Daredevil's season finale was not good to me because his the show's
It's another Disney Plus Marvel series, man.
and it suffered because they're trying to build a world and they ignore the character what's going on with the character within the show. Same
Yeah.
thing with Loki season 1. They
Yeah.
suffered
Yeah.
the characters suffered because they have to create a world around them, which and they left us unsatisfied. That they don't there's no closure.
Yeah.
There's no you have to have some closure in for that season. And I understand that going forward, you can do that. Go watch um Supernatural.
Oh yeah.
Supernatural closes they end the season with the closure of that season, but they build on the other one, and you can do that. I hated it. It was still a good show though. Don't get me wrong. It's a great show.
Sure.
It's a good show, but I didn't like the last episode, and so
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, I don't have any disagreements there.
I think when I saw it, I was like, I'm pretty sure Dave's gonna agree with me because we both think about the same when it comes to that type of
Yeah.
show. It's ridiculous, man. Anyways, folks, until we're gonna come back, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. We're on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Subscribe to that. Until then.